Hello and welcome back to the Formula 1 website. My name is Alex does F1 stuff, and today, again, is slightly different. So the last time we were on the Formula 1 website, I was doing a quiz. I'll pop a little card to that one in the corner, as I did quite badly. 9 out of 16 isn't fantastic at all. But today, I thought I'm going to do something ever so slightly different. So it's not going to be a quiz. Again, we're not also going to go over any of these articles either. Although I did watch some of the Niki Lauda races that were on last night. So today is currently 9:39 in the morning on a Thursday. Yesterday, Wednesday the 20th, they showed 2 extended highlights of Niki Lauda's races, as it has been a year since his passing, which I can't actually believe it's already been a year. Such a long time now. But anyway, today I've had an idea. Not like a big idea, but just something that I've never really thought about. So if we head on over to the standings tab, this is where I pull most of my data for the current 1.5 season that I'm working on in 2015, also the data for my fantasy prediction seasons as well. All of this comes from the Formula 1 website. I had a thought, what season, or what race in particular, had a podium with the most championships standing on it? Now, it's a question that seems stupid and doesn't really need an answer, but surely there has to be one. So obviously the podium has been a thing since, I think, somewhere in the 60s-ish, because I know in the 50s and possibly the early 60s, maybe late 60s, they only allowed the person that won the race to stand on the top step and take that wreath thing with the champagne and the trophy. However, in this video I'm just going to count the top 3 as the podium quotation marks. Obviously to the point where there was podiums in 70s and 80s and 90s, etc., all the way up to now, then it's absolutely fine. So the first thing that popped into my head was, if we take, I don't know, say we take 2019 for example, most recent year. I am just winging this. I haven't got a structure for this at all. I'm just going to browse through a load of these dates and hopefully pick out some races that have lots of champions on. So taking 2019 for example, Hamilton at this point was a 5-time Formula 1 world champion. He was not yet 6 as of 2019, and Vettel was a 4-time Formula 1 world champion at this point. So say if we go to Australia, we've only got Hamilton on the podium, so that is just the 5 world championships, so that's not ideal. China, which one is this? Bahrain, again, just Hamilton is a champion on that podium. China, so China here, we've now got Lewis and Vettel, so there we have 9 championships. Also, if you can hear any cars going past, I've had to keep a window open, as in the UK, it is currently very hot. Actually, let me pull up the weather. Weather, there we go. Weather. Where I am, 18 degrees, solid. And it's 9 in the morning, almost 10 o'clock, and it's 18 degrees. It's very hot today. So at the minute, in 2019, we've got 9. Now I'm fairly sure the only other champion on the grid at this point is Kimi Räikkönen, and he never stood on the podium. So the highest we're ever going to get in 2019 is 9. There was a point somewhere, I can't remember which one, Brazil is one of them, where there are no champions, 0, on the podium. Now obviously you can go all the way back to the first year, 1950, where there are no champions, so every single race the top 3 would have no champions on, and then again in 1951 there's only one, Nino Farina currently, and again there'd only be 1 champion, and then sometimes if he wasn't in the top 3 there'd be none still, until you got up to Fangio. So there are loads of races with none, there are loads of races with 1, but the absolute maximum that you can have is 18, I think, if my maths is right. So that would be Schumacher's 7, plus Hamilton's 6 currently, plus Fangio's 5. Obviously that can never ever happen because those 3 races can't race all together, as one of them is no longer with us. So that is just the theoretical maximum value that we can go up to. But how close can we actually get to it? But again, there are different ways that I can actually go about doing this. So I can go back to, for example, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. So say I do go to a 2018 possibly, if we just start in Australia. Okay, here we go. So 2018, Hamilton at this point was what was he in 2018? A 4-time Formula 1 World Champion. Vettel was also 4, and Raikkonen was 1. So that is 9 total current championships standing on the podium. However, I could think about it as what's the word? The championships that they have overall. So Hamilton has 6 now, so I could add an extra 2 onto that. So it would be 6, 4, 1, which is 11. So there are a few other ways that I can go about working that out. Now, another race that springs to mind is 2012, where obviously we had 7 different champions on the grid: Button, Alonso, Vettel, Hamilton, Schumacher, Raikkonen. I think that's it. And if you cast your minds back a couple of weeks ago, they showed the European Grand Prix where Schumacher was on the podium with Raikkonen and Alonso. So that is 7, and this is even current championships, this one. So 7, 1, that's 8, and then 2, we have a total of 10. And that is 10 current and also 10 maximum. Whereas if we saw Hamilton up on this podium, had he not been punted off by Maldonado, maybe we'd have seen Schumacher and Hamilton on the podium, and then that would have been 13 with just those 2 drivers as a maximum. But at this point in 2012, it would have only been 8. I hope this is making some sort of sense, and I hope it's actually turning out to be good. I am just winging this completely. So what I'm going to do now is just pick a random year where I think there are going to be loads of champions in, and just have a look through a couple of the races and just stop whenever I get to one that looks good. Oh, here's another Alonso, Raikkonen, Schumacher race. So I'm in 2005. So they've actually stood on the oh wow, I didn't actually know that. They've stood on the podium before. So that is another 10. And actually that's another, no, it's not a current 10, it's another maximum of 10, because Alonso hadn't won any of his championships at this point. So he still wasn't a champion. So currently it would have, neither was Kimi, actually, at that point. So again, it would have been just a current 7 championships on the podium at this point. However, maximum, again, 10. Oh, damn, okay, I've gone back to 1998 with Hakkinen, Schumacher, and I'm hoping to get one with Villeneuve or Hill on there, but again, that's only going to get me to 10 as a maximum, because that's what I'm kind of thinking of at the moment. It is more maximum, because I don't think we're going to get any further past the 2012 10 current value. I really don't think that's going to be possible to beat that. Geez, this is actually, it's actually quite difficult trying to think of races that people were on the podium with championships on, if that makes sense. But again, okay, so there's none in 98 with Hill or Villeneuve with Hakkinen and Schumacher on. Because it's always either Coulthard, Schumacher and Hakkinen, or Hakkinen, Coulthard and Hill, or something like that. It's never all 3 of them. It's always a combination of either 2 of them or none of them. at some points. It's actually difficult to find these. See, again, we've got, so this is 97 European Grand Prix at Jerez. We've got Hakkinen and then Villeneuve, but we don't have Schumacher up there. But like I said, again, that would only get us to 10. I know there was a race where only one race where Senna, Prost and Schumacher were all on the same podium. Oh Christ, Mansell took 5 victories in a row. Jesus, didn't know that. I know that there is one of those races. I don't know which one off the top of my head, but if I can find that one, then that would be 4 for Prost, 3 for Senna, which is 7, and then 7 for Schumacher to get 14 as a maximum, which I genuinely do not think that can actually be beaten. Oh, that's a good one. That's 11. This one, Schumacher, Senna, Mansell. So that's 3, 1, and then 7. So that's an 11 maximum. So we've beaten some of the previous ones with Hakkinen and Hill, etc. Well, no, I couldn't actually find one of those. What was the other one that I was looking at? I can't actually remember now. I didn't know they all stood on the podium together either. But I'm still looking for the Prost. Wait, had Prost retired at this point? I think Prost wasn't actually racing in 92 when, was he racing? Oh, when did Prost retire? Because he was in a Ferrari at one point, wasn't he? And then he said that the Ferrari was rubbish and then they booted him out and then he didn't come back. There we go. So here's Alain Prost in the Ferrari. Riccardo Patrese, no. Senna Alesi Berger, no. Senna PK, Senna PK Mansell, so what's that, 3, 3, 1, so that's 7. Oh, but that only equals Schumacher, what? Oh, here's another one. I feel, obviously looking for the Schumacher, Prost, Senna one, we're now pre-Schumacher, so it's a bit silly looking back this far, but I've just found the Australian Grand Prix at the end of the season. Prost, Mansell, PK, so that is 4, 1, so 5, then 3, so that's 8. That's not bad, that one. So Schumacher won in 94 and 95, but obviously Senna died in 94, and I don't think he was on the podium. Was he ever on the podium? I don't think, because he never won with Williams, and I don't think Prost was around at this point. So it could have been 1993. Oh, that's close. That's close. Where is it? Oh, Ayrton Senna, Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher. So that's 8. That's 11. That's another 11. I should really be writing these down, actually. Oh, Prost, Senna, Hill. 7, 8 again. Brundle got on the podium. Damn. There we go. There it is. The Spanish Grand Prix of 1993. Now, I am going to remember this because that's actually quite an interesting fact. The only time that these 3 drivers have stood on the same podium. So we have 4, 3, and 7-time Formula 1 World Champions standing on a podium. Obviously, that's not current championships. But what, at this point, 1993... yeah, so Ayrton Senna would be a 3-time and Prost would be a 4-time. So there'd only be 7 championships, as Schumacher wouldn't have won any at this point. Wait, no, who won in 93? Oh, I think Prost won in 93, actually. So it would have only been 6, because Mansell won in 92. Then it would have been, well, I can check. I think it was Prost. It was indeed Prost. Was when he won. Oh no, don't click it, don't click it. Oh, you silly. Okay, I don't know any others. There was an interesting one though. Ooh, not 86, 85 with Lauda, Prost and Senna on the podium. And I think it was one of the races they showed yesterday. And there you go. So Lauda ended up winning. This was Lauda's last victory, 1985, Netherlands at Zandvoort. So it was Lauda, Prost, Senna. Now that, I think, is a better podium than Schumacher, Senna, Prost. So we have a four-time champion in Prost, 3-time champion in Lauda, and a 3-time champion in Senna, which is again 10 championships. But I do not think I can get any higher than that, as pre-Schumacher we're going further back to where people hadn't won 4 championships, because then we're even pre-Prost at this point as well. And we're going to people, maybe Piquet, but there weren't any other, because Alan Jones only won 1, then there was Nelson Piquet who won 3, so that would only be 4 on at that championship. Another one. What's this? Okay, so Nelson Piquet and Prost. Jeez, Prost started it. When did Prost start then? Didn't think it was that early. So that's 7 there, but then we'd only maybe get a Jones pop up there. There wouldn't be anybody else. So I think maximum on a real race would be 10 for Europe, Valencia in 2012 with Schumacher, Alonso, Raikkonen on the podium together. And then the theoretical maximum that we can hit is the 1993 Spanish Grand Prix, Senna, Prost, Schumacher, which was 14 total championships. That has actually been quite an interesting little look through. I might try and find another one of these random things to do. I'll just pop back to the homepage so we're not looking at stupid adverts everywhere. Yeah, that was quite an interesting little video to go through, to be honest. I may be wrong. There may be another podium out there somewhere that I haven't found that has more theoretical championships and maybe more current championships as well. It's just a shame that Hamilton and Schumacher never stood on the podium, because if we had a Hamilton, Schumacher, Vettel podium, now what would that be for theoretical championships? That would be 4 for Vettel, 6 for Hamilton, which would be 10, and then 7 for Schumacher. 17 total championships if all 3 of those stood on the podium. But obviously that never ended up happening. So I'm quite happy with finding the Valencia one, which I genuinely think is the highest current championships on a podium. But I'll have to find a different kind of thing to look at. Maybe, I'll think of something. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I think I've been recording for just over 20 minutes. I'll probably turn some of these little bits of me just scrolling through into little time lapses with some music. And I think that is all I've got time for today. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video with whatever I decide to make. I'll see you then.